Welcome back to another episode of The Canon. I'm your host, Terry, and today doing my top 10 movies of 2018. I know I took a while. And you know what? I decided, that 2018 is still here. Even if I don't do it before the end of 2018, which everyone tries to do, I can still do it later. And I thought no perfect time than the night before or the day of the Oscars. And so, yeah, it gave me more time to watch some of the movies I didn't catch during my Oscar race and all that, and I was ready to finally make my top 10. I've been ready to do it, but I didn't have time, or I just been putting it off. But anyway, we're here now, and so going to go through the top 10 again. This is my list of my personal favorite movies. I'll have all the scores on there, but this really isn't about scores, just my personal preference. So everybody's list is going to be different, but I want to start out with some honorable mentions. First off, we got A Quiet Place, directed and starring John Krasinski and his wife Emily Blunt. Great movie, great cinematic experience. This is actually my highest rated movie of the year. But it didn't make it onto the top 10. It was pretty low in the top 10 most of the year because I think so much of it does rely on that movie theater experience, but I do think it's an amazing movie. And then we got Eighth Grade, directed and written by Bo Burnham, the comedian, his first time out making a movie, and it was so good. It fought tooth and nail to stay on the list for most of the year, but eventually had to go off. But man, you talk about a coming of age story. You talk about, really going through a journey with a character. Eighth Grade is funny when it has to be. It's emotional when it has to be. And some of the scenes are just kind of claustrophobic where you're just like, feel really trapped into what's going on. So for a first time director, I thought it was a absolutely great job, and a great job by a lot of young kids. After that, Game Night. Oh my God. Game Night, the ensemble cast that sounded so intriguing. And then it was like, well, is it actually going to be that good? And it was good. It was good as a story, but it was so funny as a comedy. It's hilarious. And this definitely probably could have cracked my top 10. But I absolutely love that movie. If you have not seen Game Night, go see it. It's just, you'll laugh. The first time you see Game Night is the best time when you have no idea what's coming next. It's still good on repeat. I've seen it several times after, but it's just so good that first time. And then lastly, gotta give it up to the big dog, Black Panther. I know I go back and forth about it being Oscar nominated, whole different story, but I love this movie. Look, I saw this movie 10 times. I have so much stuff from Black Panther. It's a really tough thing where balancing the quality and how much I like it and putting it on my list. The movies I have, I like more, but there's no question that Black Panther made an impact. It shook the foundations, in many different ways. And so there's no describing how much I love Black Panther. And it hurts that it's not on my top 10, but a great movie. Ryan Coogler, the ensemble, everything they did was amazing. So with that being said, we are going to jump into this top 10 list. Number 10, there is Tag, the ensemble comedy. You got Hannibal Buress, you got Ed Helms, you got Jake Johnson, you got, I almost called him Armie Hammer. What's that guy's name? John Hamm. There we go. Anyway, so, the movie that is about a group of friends that play tag, throughout their adulthood, and every few years they would get together to keep playing this game. And that's how they stay together, based off a true story. The movie was so good. I saw it at an early screening actually, and it was just so funny. It's so funny as a comedy, but what made it stay on my list was that it had so much heart to it. I mean, it really wrapped up well this whole message of all the friends, of why they want to stay in each other's lives, why they play this game, and why it's important for them to be close. And so it touched you. I mean, it makes you think of your friend. I mean, of course, most of us don't do things like this, but it just makes you think of your friends, I think, and just kind of why those friends are important. And the music was so good in it. I love the music choices. I love the performances. And then it wraps up with actual footage from the real life people playing tag. And I thought it was a beautiful end of the movie. So tag's my number 10. Number 9, we got A Star Is Born. I famously, probably not famously, but for me, I famously said that Lady Gaga's going to get an Oscar nomination over a year ago when I saw the first picture of her in the role. And so here we are in Oscar night and she's actually nominated. So, feel good about that. I said she's going to win. I don't know if she's going to win, but I was intrigued with this from the beginning. I was deeply interested in Bradley Cooper's first directorial debut, but I was really interested in Lady Gaga having a main screen performance. And when they described what the role was, I just knew that she was going to nail it. I'll just say that. And I love this movie. I mean, I saw it about 2 or 3 times and it's something about it. Something about it just hits you. It just, yeah. I don't like the way it ended, or not the very ending, but I don't like the third act, the way it tailed off. But everything before that feels big. It feels emotional. It feels real and raw. And everything up into her becoming a star, I just absolutely fell in love with. And I thought Lady Gaga gave an amazing performance. All right. Number 8, we got Ready Player One. There's some hate on this movie. I don't know. This movie goes up and down between people hating and loving it. I was blown away. This was in my top 5 for most of the year. It's funny because I didn't really love it when I first saw it, but I saw it a few more times and it's just so big and it's so adventurous and creative. I mean, I know it's based on a book and it has a lot of stuff that's pop culture reference, but I think it fits the narrative of what our culture would become in this type of world where everybody escapes to virtual reality. It would be all pop culture. I mean, look at the internet now. And so I just thought the things it was talking about in society mixed with the story of it and the visuals was absolutely just breathtaking, to be honest with you. I mean, it was fun. It was fun and it was epic. And I honestly don't know if I quite seen a movie like that or felt like that in a movie this year. So Ready Player One. Number 7, Tully, starring Charlize Theron, an indie movie where she plays mother who is pregnant with her 3rd child. And after she has the child, it's kind of a slice of a life movie, really. And I rewatched it recently. I remember really being deeply impacted the first time, but I want to see if it held up because there is a twist in it. And so I want to see if it held up now that I knew what was happening. It did not matter. Actually, you see the movie in a completely different way once you know what's happening. And it's still just as good, even if not even better. And so I absolutely love this movie. I thought Charlize was amazing in this performance and she worked well with Mackenzie Davis too. So, yeah, I really love Tully. I think definitely go check that out if you haven't. Number 6, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Young Miles Morales, the movie that should not have worked. I, like a lot of people, talked a lot of trash about Sony doing an animated movie in the theaters. There's just that stigma unless you're like a Pixar or Disney. Honestly, if Black Panther didn't come out this year, this would kind of be in its place because I mean, the live action component is important, but minus that, you talk about the cast they got, the feeling and the lived in experience of kind of that culture or a culture that they got. You talk about the soundtrack and the music that supplements this movie even more than Black Panther does. Black Panther has 1 or 2 songs in the actual movie. This movie really intertwines into the storyline one of the songs, and the soundtrack is so good. The colors are vibrant. It was a new animation style. They went big with it. It wasn't like, let's just talk about Miles. No, we're going to throw all these spider people at you. it was like throwing a bunch of colors onto the canvas and it really just coming out as a masterpiece to me, because it just, all the signs pointed to it shouldn't have worked. And I think to this point, it might be the highest rated Rotten Tomatoes movie, well, it was at one point of the year. And that's just compared to what we thought it would be and what we got. It's off the wall. It's funny. It's engaging. It's action packed. It's heartwarming. I really love Spider-Man to the Spider-Verse, and I never thought I would even consider this a good movie, let alone in my top 10. Number 5, we got The Favorite, starring the trio. We got Emma Stone, Rachel Weisz, and you got Olivia Colman. This came out of nowhere for me. I heard it was good, but it was like, okay, another indie period piece Oscar movie. I won't ruin it. If you haven't seen it, go see it. It is not what you think it is. It is very much a comedy. It very much is talking about some stuff you would never think it's actually talking about. But watching the movie, I was pleasantly surprised to when I figured out what the actual plot was. I was like, are they really doing this? I mean, it's 2019, but in 2018, but are they really trying this with this movie? And they did. What they put on screen, I think, is powerful. And it's powerful because it wasn't overt. It wasn't in your face. It wasn't advertised. It was like, come see this movie and we're going to show you it just like it's any other movie. And the representation is powerful. So it's fictional period piece. This stuff didn't actually really happen. So they were able to play around and, be goofy with it. But this is some of the best dialogue of the year. I hope it wins best screenplay. Favorite is hilarious. I'd definitely go see that. Number 4. This is where we divide. Film is subjective. Welcome to Marwen. I love this movie. And I was really thinking I was going to love it. Steve Carell, the story. I was like, yes, I'm in. And then all the bad reviews and all that. This is just like Downsizing for me last year. Everybody hated that movie. I love that movie. And you know what? That we like what we like. I'm glad I saw it. This movie, it would take a long time to even just explain all the things that it hits on. But man, you talking about some serious diversity, some serious light on subjects that we don't talk about and that are very important in our social sphere right now. But yet people didn't like this movie. And I still don't understand why. I would have to talk to more people why, but I loved it. I thought Steve Carell, amazing performance, Oscar level. I thought the story was so creative. Everything, the visuals, the way to edit it. And I know people say they didn't like editing, but I loved it. The way it kept cutting back from real life to what he was imagining, it helped you see how he was seeing the world and how much he lived in his own head. And it was, I would give it a shot. If you didn't see it and you thought it sounded good, give it a shot because it's one of my favorite movies, obviously. So next up, we got Green Book. Mahershala Ali, Viggo Mortensen, based on a true story. Dr. Don Shirley going down to the South. This movie's amazing. This movie's amazing. I mean, everybody was buzzing about it when it was announced and then it came out. And when I went to see it, I was blown away. I had some issues with it, but then I saw it a second time and it was funny. It was like a month or so after. And I went to see it thinking, on a random day, I think it was a Tuesday. I'm thinking like, okay, it's going to be empty. It was packed. And so everybody was just laughing, having a good time. I realized how funny it is, but the message behind it, the message should not go unnoticed. It takes courage to change people's hearts. It takes you being brave to go out there and do some of the hard work that most people don't want to do or can't do. And number one, if people are going to do better, they have to see better. That you have to show them something different. And so I was absolutely captivated with the story. And the performances, as you see, both of them are nominated. They were absolutely great. The chemistry was great. Just a fun movie. Number 2, Avengers Infinity War. Yes, I did that. Infinity War. You know what? I mean, we all know this, it started as a comic book channel and all that. But here's the thing. The level of difficulty, and I do weigh that pretty well in movies, the level of difficulty the Russos had, I don't know if anybody else matches that in this whole 2018. What they had to balance and how much was riding on this working was incredible. And the way that they did it, I mean, forget the epic event part of it being Avengers Infinity War and Thanos and everybody's getting hyped to go see it. Forget that event part. The fact when you sitting there watching it unfold and play out, and you're seeing Avengers, you're seeing Wakanda, you're seeing T'Challa, you're seeing Captain America, you're seeing Iron Man, Spider-Man, and Doctor Strange and Thanos. It's like, to see that they were actually balancing that movie in real time was breathtaking. I honestly, I did not think it was possible. I mean, and it got close. It got close to filling over stuff, but it never got there. And that in itself, I think, is an incredible feat. But it's so rewatchable. I mean, this is one of the movies I rewatched the most. And you could pick up at any point in the movie and just be real, enthralled with it. But then the guts to do what they did at the end really sets it over the top. You really surprised us in a movie where you didn't think you could really be surprised because of the way the franchise been. And so, yes, events afterwards make it feel different, but if you're talking about in the moment of watching that movie the first time, does not compare. And we got one of the best all-time villains in Thanos. All right. Number 1, my top movie of 2018. And it's funny. It is so similar to last year. A movie that I saw very early in the year. Small indie movie that was in theaters for a very short amount of time. Ended up seeing it thinking like, wow, this is one of my favorites. And it ended up persisting to be my number 1 all year. And that's exactly what happened in 2017. That's what happened this year. My number 1 is Blind Spotting, people. Daveed Diggs, Raphael Cascal, like the 2 writing partners, they do spoken word poetry. They write music, they rap. Daveed Diggs from Hamilton, of course. They wrote this movie and they starred in it with amazing chemistry. And so just talking about what the story was, and you probably see a theme, the commentary on society. When we're talking about the impact of Black Panther, when we're talking about the impact of Black Klansmen, the race relations on a real level, not the Hollywood level, not the metaphor level, but on a real level, in Blind Spotting is unmatched. Where you actually look at how identity and race plays out. Not just with a black man, but with a white man too, that has to live the same reality as his best friend. And sometimes even worse. Talking about the prison system and how that plays out. Talking about police and the racial profiling and murders with black men. Like, this movie did a lot. And it handled it well, and it's so hilarious. It's so hilarious on top of being powerful. It's hard to put into words how much I love this movie. And then on top of that, doesn't help or hurt, that these two put out the EP for the album or for the movie as well. And so you got them rapping like, come on, man, how much more talent do you want in one sitting? So it's so good. It's so good. It's a love letter to Oakland. It's a Friday slice of a life type movie. It's a poignant indie movie. It's a funny comedy. It's everything you want. I bought that movie. I pre-ordered it and it took a long time to come out. But as soon as I got it, I've been trying to give it to everybody I could. And I've never done that really. I'm like loaning this movie out every other week to make sure that people see this, because this movie is amazing. So I definitely recommend it. Anyway, that's my top 10 of 2018. Finally done with it. Looking forward to 2019 movies, even though we're already here. Looking forward to the Oscars tonight. Everybody tune in. We can't wait to see who wins. But go to the comment section. Let me know your top 10. Let me know what you think of my list. All that good stuff. Thumbs up, subscribe, share it around, get the convo started. And thank you for listening.